Hello everyone. Okay, so this slideshow is about the segment addition postulate. It is very simple, but this is day one, so bet your bottom dollar it's going to get more difficult as we go on. So we'll start slow and get the concept, and then we'll move more difficult tomorrow. So segment addition postulate says chunk plus chunk equals total. Simple as that. So you got this worm, right? It's a whole worm. If you chop it off, the little part, this plus the big part plus the little part would equal the whole worm, right? Yep. All right, some things to note is we made a big deal with notation when we were naming things like point, line, plane, ray, angle, all that stuff, and segment. So AB with the line over it means the line segment with points A and B. AB with no line over it means the distance between A and B. Now that can be centimeters, it can be kilometers, it can be inches, whatever. If you don't know, if it doesn't say, you're going to write units. Ooh, my hand writing is beautiful. So units is what you'll write if it doesn't say anything. So there's the segment AB, and that's how you would say that the segment AB is 14 centimeters long. Now, I know this need not be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. The word between is very important. You've got this line segment, oh, it's all going quick. You've got this line segment CD, and E is between, but point G is not between. Technically, look, G is, between C and D, but for one point to be between two other points, the 3 points must be collinear. The word between in geometry is very specific. It must be on the same line. All right, the segment addition postulate says if Q is between P and R, then PQ plus QR must equal PR. So if Q is between P and R, here's P, here's R, this must be what? Q. So then the chunk PQ plus the chunk QR must equal the total of PR. So, okay, sorry, that went a little fast. I thought there was one more thing on there. So, okay, this is what I was thinking of. PR, the Q is there, chunk plus chunk equals total. Now we have numbers. So we know that PQ is 12, and we know that QR is 3. So how long must PR be? Well, 15. Oops. Units. 15 units long. Now, what about this? Okay, if there are two ways that you can be given information. If you are given two chunks, so it says N is between L and P. Well, L and P must be the endpoints if N is between them. So you got a line segment, you got a L and P are the endpoints. That means N must be between them. You know that the chunk is Ln, another chunk is Pn. It's asking you to find LP, which is the total. By the way, if on a worksheet you're only given this, 9 students out of 10 are going to try to do it without drawing this. Now obviously you don't have to label the chunks and the totals, but I highly suggest, aka almost no one can do it without drawing out the picture. So I suggest drawing out the picture. So you know that chunk plus chunk equals total. So you know that ln is a little chunk, np is the other little chunk, and the total is LP. You know that ln is 14, you know that np is 12, you know that LP is, you don't know. Now, this is going to seem a little extra for this one, but you'll see on the next slide, and then when we start putting algebra into this, that this format is highly, highly helpful. So obviously, LP must be 26 units. You could just look at the picture and see, 14 and 12, boom, 26. But what about this situation? Ooh. If you're not given two chunks, if you are given the total instead, and one chunk, let's say they give you Q is between R and T. RT is 18, QR is 10. Find QT. Find the cutie. You know that if Q is between them, then R and T are the endpoints. So you've got a line segment, you got R and T as the endpoints. You know that Q is between them. RT, this first info is the total segment length because it's R and T and those are the endpoints. So you know the total is 18 and you know that the first chunk is 10 units and you don't know what QT is. You have no idea. But you do know that chunk plus chunk equals total. So the first chunk is QR, or you could call it RQ, that's fine. And the second chunk is QT. And you know that together they equal the entire segment, RT. You know that QR is 10. You don't know what QT is, but you know that the total, RT, is 18. So we're going to set up an equation. This is our X. You could think of it as X. Or you could put a question mark, whatever. So to get any variable alone or any unknown piece of information alone, you have to do the opposite operation to get it alone. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. You know that 10 minus 10 is 0, so you're just left with QT on the left, and you know that 18 minus 10 is 8 on the right side. So that's it. Pretty easy, right? Now you are going to take some notes and then maybe do some practice problems. Good luck!